What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another LEGO YouTube video. In today's video, I figured we would bring back the top 10 videos because it has been forever since I posted a top 10 video, and I thought a very interesting idea to do would be ranking my top 10 biggest LEGO sets in my collection. Now, it's very important to understand this ranking is based only on piece count, not the size of the final model, just piece count. So, with that in mind, let's just go ahead and get straight into the honorable mentions that barely missed the list. Each one of these has just over 3,000 pieces. Alright, and now that we have the honorable mentions out of the way, let's go ahead and get straight into the number 10 biggest LEGO set in my LEGO collection. Alright, and at the number 10 spot, and it's one of my first UCS sets I actually ever got in my LEGO collection, the 1989 Batmobile. It of course comes with this cool UCS plaque with tons of specs, and then you get 3 minifigures, and this set comes with 3,308 pieces, so it literally only has like 20 more than the UCS gunship, so it barely made it onto this list, but this set is just very, very detailed. I love all of the kind of tile details they have all around it. It is my favorite Batman set that I have in my LEGO collection. It reminds me a lot of the animated series Batmobile, and there's just tons of details with the printed Batman logo on the wheels, as well as some stickers off to the side. I really like the greebling down towards the bottom of the Batmobile, and it is a very detailed model. It has some very unique building techniques to it, and it's one of my most unique LEGO Batman sets, and I'd honestly argue one of my most unique LEGO sets, period. Towards the back, you're able to see some more detail. Even though you don't really see this, they still added a few details with the minifigure heads. There's some more tiles, and I really like how they're able to accomplish all of the different curves. The other side of the Batmobile is, of course, as expected, just a mirror image of the side we looked at earlier. Also, you can move this windshield out so you can get a look at the interior. The interior does have a few sticker pieces, and it is very detailed. It has several different parts of the Batmobile that control it. Also, an interesting play feature is if you move the steering wheel, it actually does move the 2 front wheels of the Batmobile, which is a nice touch. And you also do get the stand, so you can kind of rotate the Batmobile around it, which is very nice and helps you display it a lot. Also, a play feature right here is if you turn this knob, you are actually able to launch these 2 kind of machine guns towards the front of the Batmobile, and it's a really fun play feature. It looks great. Here is what the Batmobile looks like with those displayed, so it's nice that you get 2 options. You can either have the more sleek and smooth version, or you can have it with the machine guns on display. But let's get into the number 9 pick. Alright, and at the number 9 spot, again, like I said earlier, this is strictly by piece count, which is why these art sets qualify, and the Sif Art comes with 3,406 pieces. Now you may be wondering, how does a small set like this stack up against the other big LEGO sets in my collection? Well, the answer is, it is literally just made up of all of these really tiny stud pieces. There's just these 1x1 studs that all come together to form this big picture. However, you get 3 options in the set, and each option that you get is not the same and uses different colors, so you get a lot of spare pieces. And those spare pieces are actually calculated into the final piece count, because with the Sif Art, you may notice the color schemes are completely different. If you wanted to build Darth Vader, you use a lot more blues. However, if we take a look at the actual box of the set, you're able to see Darth Maul uses a lot more orange and red, and so does Kylo, but Vader is mostly the dark blue. So they give you extra pieces, and those count too. And then on to the number 8 pick, it is of course the Daily Bugle. It comes with 3,772 pieces, and it is one of the tallest LEGO sets I have in my collection. It literally cannot fit all the way on my desk, and here it is stacked up next to a regular modular building. It is almost double the size of your typical modular building. It is just massive. It's always been one of my favorite LEGO sets, and it's also one of my biggest. It is definitely my tallest LEGO set, and there's also tons of detail on each floor. It's not just a tall, boring skyscraper. They do have side builds and other details towards the side of the set and even towards the back of it. What's also really cool, this set does have a few play features. You are able to knock out this wall on the first floor, and it also allows you to get a better look at the first floor. Also, what's worth talking about, this set is completely modular, so you can remove each floor from each other to get a better look at the interior. And of course, what really adds to the piece count is every single floor is fully detailed, fully tiled out, and has tons of small furniture items, Easter eggs, you name it. Here's a look at the second floor. You're able to see some desks, a coffee machine, there's an elevator, and there's just tons of detail all around the second floor. What I will say though is the interior details do become less big, I guess, as you move up the Daily Bugle, because as you go up, the actual depth of the floors decreases. As you can see here, we now have a balcony instead of a full floor. Also on the back, there's a hidden compartment for Peter Parker's backpack, and there is a ventilation system. And then if we look at the third floor, we are able to see Peter Parker's office, which is not as detailed, not as many furniture items, but there still are a few that definitely will add to that piece count. Also, if we look out here, we're able to see more details such as the Daily Bugle sign. There is also a water tower build, and there is a satellite too. So, tons of details on the top of it that add to the height. There's also a fire escape that stretches all the way to the top of the building, which looks really great. Probably one of my favorite parts of the set. And then inside of the kind of penthouse suite, if you will, it is J. Jonah's office and the reception desk. And there's a little divider, and there's 2 desks and a few other details out here. Also on the outside of the Daily Bugle, you're able to see the spider buggy, and there are a few billboards on the back of the Daily Bugle, and here's a better look at the water tower that you do get included in the set. And then there's also a taxi cab side build, and this is definitely one of my most impressive sets. It is my tallest LEGO set, and probably will remain the tallest for quite some time. I don't really see them releasing a set that will be taller, except maybe the new Avengers Tower, but it is an amazing set and one of my biggest. And then at the number 7 spot, I have the LEGO Home Alone house from the LEGO Ideas sub-theme. This comes with 3,955 pieces, and you do get the side build of the OK plumbing and heating van. It's very small, but there are a few interior details. Another one of the side builds is Kevin McAllister's treehouse. Very small. I think this is the last thing that you build in the set. However, most of the detail and the piece count comes from the house, which is thick. It's pretty deep, I would say. And there's also tons of interior details, which adds to the piece count. And there's tons of play features too. You are able to kind of move the walls out like this, kind of like a dollhouse, to get a better look at all of the interior details, which looks great. And you can also move the roof up too to get a look at the attic. This is also completely modular, so you can remove each floor to get a better look at the floor beneath it. On the first floor, we have the Empire State Building on the side here. There's also the Eiffel Tower on this side of the wall, and inside the living room, you're able to just see how many interior details they do have in this set. There's a small sofa, there's a train, there's a fireplace, there's also a Christmas tree, and what's really funny is they have the actual LEGO set inside of the living room as a Christmas gift. There's some painting, or I guess portraits on the wall, not really paintings, and various furniture items. You can also move the train around via a Technic pin, and it also moves around this kind of statue, as we see in the movie where he tries to trick the robbers. Towards the center of the house, you're able to see this small staircase, and there is a small little flower pot below the stairs. Also, another cool play feature, you can actually launch Kevin down the steps. It's very fun, and you can actually, if you angle it right, he can go all the way out into his front yard, which was pretty cool. And speaking of the front yard, there are a few lights outside, there's some reefs, some steps, and various plants and stuff. And then if we take a look at the dining room, you're able to see some of the traps, I guess, that he has set. Not really traps, but like the mechanisms that he uses to trick the robbers. There's a clock, a dining room table, and there's stairs, which actually lead up to this other building, and you can attach it to the back like this via Technic pins. And Here's what it looks like all connected. This part is actually composed of 2 different floors, and the first one we'll look at is the kitchen. You can see this nice fridge, and there's mac and cheese, and of course the mac and cheese is able to fit inside of the fridge. Why you put mac and cheese in the fridge, I don't know, but you can. There's also some pizza boxes, a sink, and then there's this one trap that lights up the door handle or the doorknob. There's also the TV with the kind of mafia movie, which is kind of funny. And then we also have our microwave and another pizza box and a little island, as well as a trash disposal. You can also fit Marv inside of the window, just like in the movie, which I thought was pretty funny. So I like that that actually works. And then also there's another play feature where you can actually drop a laundry part. I forget what they call it. It's like an ironing board onto Marv in the basement below. Speaking of the basement, here is a better look at it. I think it's very small, but it does have a few details in there. There's some cabinets, a laundry machine, and a dryer. I think the big highlight of this, though, is the furnace, which is able to light up via a light brick. And now that we've got the first floor out of the way, let's take a look at the second floor. You're able to see some stairs, as well as the spider that we see in the movie, and then you can also see some more portraits off to the side of the wall. I really like the blue color scheme that they have inside of here, and they divide each room up, and each room does have its own details and furniture and stuff, which definitely adds a lot to the piece count. Every single floor and every single room is detailed. There's also another play feature where you can knock this paint can down on Harry, and then we have Buzz's room, and Buzz's room is pretty cool. There's a few like sticker pieces here and there and tons of different furniture items and play features here. You've got his BB gun on the wall, as well as his bed. And then if we take a look at the attic is the smallest floor, but it is not without its details. We have Kevin's battle plan, as well as this small pull-out sofa and a bubblegum machine. Another play feature that's really cool is there is a zip line from the attic to the treehouse that you can use, and it actually does work, which I thought was really cool. And this set definitely has the most play features out of any LEGO set in my collection, and it also has more details than probably like 80% of my collection, and it's got a ton of pieces too. And then the next set, coming in at the number 6 spot, is the Batcave Shadow Box. This was recently released in June. It has 3,981 pieces. You can have it closed up like this, or you also get the option to fully open up the display to get a better look at the Batcave. In my opinion, this is the best way to display it because you're able to see all of the brick-built details inside. When you have it closed up, you kind of hide all of that hard work that you spent building the set, so I don't really understand that. But you do get some tools on the bottom, and then the Bat computer setup is on the second floor. This is probably my favorite part of the set. You can move the screen via a Technic pin to display 2 different screens. These are sticker pieces. You can either have the Penguin or Catwoman on it. You can also move Bruce Wayne's chair around. R.I.P. Bruce Wayne. We really knocked him off the chair there, but you've also got various control panels around here. All of these are sticker pieces, unfortunately. There's also some stairs leading up to this Batsuit display. There is a light brick inside, so you can kind of have a spotlight over it, and there's another Technic pin that allows you to kind of lower this, almost like a drawbridge, where you can get a better look at the suit, and there's the light brick displayed again. Very cool addition to it. You can also move it back up too if you don't want that displayed like that. Also, there's more stairs leading up to this kind of Batarang display / weapon arsenal, and another Technic pin allows you to close the doors and open the doors for this. I really like all of the moving features in this set, and they definitely account for a big part of the piece count. Also, there's a lot of just like rock work too. Next up, we have the Batmobile display. You do get a Batmobile in this set. It is the exact same with like subtle differences than the set that they released in August. Here's a look at the Batman logo that we have above the garage. You are also able to open up this garage door, and you can just push a pin and it'll shut right back. Here's a look at the Batmobile that you get. It's very detailed, though it is kind of small. You can also, like the 1989 Batmobile UCS set, you can launch these machine guns via a Technic pin, which looks great. And here it is again in slow motion because, like, why not? I think it looks really cool, kind of the play feature. That's one of my favorites that they have done for any of the Batmobiles. I hope it becomes like a regular thing for the future Batmobiles that they do, because like it's a really fun play feature, and it just like I don't know, I really like it. And here it is next to the UCS version, so you can see there's definitely a notable size difference between the two. Also, we have the Batman logo on the other side of this, which is accomplished with various curved pieces, and then you've got your rock pieces behind it. This takes up a decent amount of the piece count as well too, as this is just like a giant box. Also, you get 7 minifigures, sorry, in the set. Here's what it looks like from the back. And then there's also a hidden compartment with this fire element. And what this does is if you move the Batmobile, the fire will turn towards the back. But this is just a massive Lego set. There's so many brick built details in this, and it's very tall and wide, which is why it has such a large piece count to it. But and at the number 5 pick, we have Assembly Square, my biggest modular building. This has 4,002 pieces, and as you can see here, it takes up a base plate and a half instead of the regular 1 base plate that the modular buildings normally have. This is 3 different buildings, and there are tons of details on the exterior. There's different sidewalk details, there's a fountain, there's street lamps. This is probably the most detailed modular building that I have in my collection, and it is by far the biggest. My only other modular building that comes close is the Boutique Hotel, and this has 1,000 more pieces than that. If we look at the blue building off to the side, you're able to see a balcony and tons of window elements. Also, the florist has some great details. There's like the flower sign. And if we look at the far right building, you're able to see there's tons of tiles that are placed on snot bricks to get some cool details on there. Also from the back, this does take up most of the base plate. So it is a massive set. I am not exaggerating. And on the back here, we're able to see a nice little rooftop patio. And then towards the coffee shop, we can see some plants on the back wall. There's also a skylight on the roof, and it's a very nice set. It is also, of course, modular, like the name suggests, and you can take off each floor to get a look at the interior. Each building has a complete interior with tiles and several details and furniture items. If we look at the bakery, you're able to see like shelves, a pastry case, there's an oven, and tons of other details inside of here. There's also a wedding cake and another small little pastry display over here. So also what's worth mentioning, the florist and the bakery are attached. And the second floor of the kind of coffee shop / blue building is a nice little music store. There's various instruments inside of here. And then we can see a photography studio on the second floor of the florist shop. And then if we look at the other building, it is a dentist. There's a printed window piece, and the dentist office also has a lot of brick built furniture items, and it's very detailed. Definitely one of my favorite part of the modular buildings are all of the kind of Easter eggs and details they're able to put into the interiors and exteriors. Also, the final floor of the blue building has a ballet studio. You can even see a mirror, which is really cool. They hardly ever do that. And then here's a better look at the balcony I mentioned earlier. My favorite interior detail is definitely this Lego fans apartment. They've got a small Lego city as well as the Eiffel Tower. They even have the T1 camper van, and they have some of the modular buildings on the shelf. There's a small kitchen and a bathroom, and it's a very detailed apartment. There's a lot that they're able to fit into that small space. And this is definitely one of the most impressive modular buildings. It is the biggest modular building they have ever released, and it fits in very nice with the others. But let's get into the number 4 pick. And so at the number 4 spot, again, this is by piece count, so this is why sets like the art sets actually have a chance in this ranking. This is the Jim Lee Batman collection. It comes with 4,167 pieces, and this one, again, like the Sif Art, it is mainly composed of all of these 1x1 studs. So it really adds up. It may not be the biggest set, but by piece count, you get a lot here to make this big mosaic. Now, why the Batman set has a lot more pieces than the Sif Art is because, as you can see on the box here, there are 3 different options, and you can tell the color scheme in the Joker and Harley Quinn is very different from the Batman one, so because of that, you get tons of extra studs that are calculated into that final piece count that you see on the box. So that's why this set is so high, almost 4,000 pieces. Will you use all of them? Is the set I have on the wall now 4,000 pieces? No, but the final set and the final piece count is, which is why it is at the number 4 spot. And at the number 3 spot in my collection is LEGO Ninjago City Gardens. It is one of my tallest sets, though not quite as big as the Daily Bugle. There it is for reference side by side, but it is still massive. This has almost double the amount of pieces as the Daily Bugle. It has 5,686 pieces. This set is massive. What makes it have so many more pieces than the Daily Bugle is because this takes up almost the entire base plate, as there is a lot of room on the Daily Bugle, a lot of open studs. There's hardly any on this. There's also the side build too, which is this small little shrine island, and it is based on the season 4 of LEGO Ninja, or I guess season 3, I always get the numbers mixed up, of Ninjago, where we see the Titanium Zane statue. Also, what's cool, this is able to connect to the base of the build, and you can see the water features also take up a fair amount of pieces too, as they are layered. Also, this set is completely modular, and it's very tall too, so each layer is able to detach from each other. And so let's get a look at some of the interior details. The first layer of this set is very detailed. You're able to see this big tree with a bench towards the front here, and there's just tons of different color schemes, different building techniques they use for everything. There's a little plaza on the bottom here with some tables, and there's a little dining area. You can also see several different vendors with their little setups. And then the first building we'll look at is this like small ramen shop. Every single building has a detailed interior. Here's Ronan's weapons shop. There's also a hidden compartment underneath it. You're able to see several different references to the Ninjago universe in his shop. Also, we have a small apartment above the ramen shop, and then here's the second floor of Ronan's weapons shop. Has just a few little paintings and stuff, and then there's a staircase leading up, or a ladder, I guess. And then also, what's worth noting, there's Jay Stormfighter on the Ninjago fans apartment. There's also all of these advertisements and billboards and this big tree towards the center of the second layer of the gardens. And then we also have Master Chen's noodle shop. And this is a very small building, but there are interior details. There's a little menu and there's some seating areas. And then we also have this ice cream shop on the other side. And this is also very small, but it does still have interior details. On the back of it, we're able to see an AC unit, and somebody drops their ice cream, unfortunately. And it looks very good. Here's what the gardens look like from behind on the second floor. There's also a staircase leading up to the third floor of the gardens, and here we can see some more billboards off to the side. Also, we're able to see most of this floor is taken up by the museum, but there is a small green apartment at the very end here. Here's what it looks like from the back, and then we can also see some interior details of the museum. I'm not going to go super in-depth because there are other reviews on YouTube that go more in-depth than I can, as that's not the point of this video, but I'll give y'all just a quick overview of some of the more notable details in the museum. There's also a telescope on the back of this, and here's a look at the other apartment included in the set. It's very small, very compact, but there's also a painting of the gardens, which I thought was really cool. And then now we get on to the final layer of the Ninjago City Gardens, and there's not much here, but there is this small pink building which has a small tea table. There's a vault with something inside of it, and then you can also see a skeleton hanging on the museum ceiling. And then there is this small arcade all the way to the right of this set. Very cool. There's some great details. There's even some posters towards the back of it too. And there's this very, very small compartment above the arcade. And that is the finished Ninjago City Gardens. So huge set, very tall. You also get a Golden Woo minifigure, but this set is insane. One of my biggest sets and easily one of my favorites too. And then at the number 2 spot, we have the newly released LEGO Ninjago City Markets set. This came out in June as well, in addition to the Batcave Shadow Box, and this has 6,163 pieces. And what's different about this one that makes it so much bigger than the Gardens, or I guess by like 500 pieces, I guess, but still a notable difference, is this is constructed over 2 base plates instead of the 1.5 that the Ninjago City Gardens are. And it is very detailed. There is a lot going on here. On the first layer, you're able to see several sticker pieces and several different buildings too. Again, though, with the Ninjago City Gardens, just because of how massive this set is and the fact that I don't want this video to be an hour long, I'm just going to be doing a quick overview of the set so you're able to see some of the details and some of the brick built details that make up for this piece count. So if we look at the back here, we have some posters, there's some more lights that we see in the Ninjago City Gardens set with the kind of transparent blue minifigure heads, and you're able to see kind of the back of some of the shops on the first layer. Also, what's notable is there is still the continued water features that we see in the gardens, and there's several flower pots and other details on the exterior of some of these buildings. It's a very impressive build. From the front here, we're able to see some more pillars and some more sticker pieces as well. One of my favorite details here is this big kind of red bridge. Also, if we look towards the back, you're able to see some other vendors. There's like small stalls and stuff. There's a lot of walking space on the first floor, so that definitely, it's very different from the gardens for that reason. There's more open space with this one, which I like. It's very different from Ninjago City Gardens, but despite having all that open space, it still has more pieces than it. On the second floor here, we're able to see more of the kind of advertisements that we saw in Ninjago City Gardens, which looks really cool. Lots of stickers though, lots of stickers. None of these are prints, which kind of sucks, but they are still nice details, and they don't really account for too much of the piece count. Really where the piece count comes from are these just like massive buildings, and there's so many of them, and each building has its own interior details. If we look at the second floor here, we're able to see even more details, including this kind of cable car, and then towards the back here, there's this small walkway, which looks really cool, and I really like the torii, I think is what it's called. It's like a Japanese gateway, which looks really nice. There's also this big sign towards the sushi bar on the very right. Here's what this area looks like from the back. You're able to see some stairs leading up to the sushi bar, and there's another walkway leading to the stairs. Various billboards can be seen as well too, and the amount of references and Easter eggs in the set is amazing. Here's what the back of the Borg store looks like. It's very simple because you're not really looking at it from this angle too much, but there is still some detail worth mentioning. Here is a better look at the torii that I mentioned earlier. Probably one of my favorite parts of the set, and it is one of the simplest builds that you do, but I just really like it. And we also have another billboard right here off to the side of this bathroom, which does feature a working toilet, the first working Lego toilet, which is really cool. And then here's a better look at the sushi bar sign. We're able to see an octopus on it with a little frying pan, which I thought looks cool. The interior of the sushi bar is very, very small, very compact, but there are still details worth mentioning. Here's a look at the bathroom stall. So very nice, but very compact, but they do still get a lot of detail in there despite the small size. There's also a small walkway connecting the two, which looks good. It gives the minifigures a nice view over the entire city. Now, if we look at this other section, this is kind of the cable car station where our cable car is able to go from the first floor to the second floor. Here's a better look at the cable car. You can only really comfortably fit one minifigure inside of there, but it's really cool. You can open up this with a Technic pin, which allows for the cable car to actually move up to the second floor. And you can, of course, move the cable car via a Technic pin. There's a little string piece that you have to attach to it, which is very annoying. I hate the string pieces, but it does work. It is fully functioning, and you are able to dock it in the cable car station, which I thought was really cool. One of my favorite play features in any Lego set that I own. Also, there's a wheelchair lift too, which is really cool. There's tons of like wheelchair accessible areas because Cyrus Borg is in this set, and so because of that, they kind of added a lot of stuff. Speaking of him though, here is the Borg store. It's got this very nice green color scheme to it. I really like it a lot. There is a working elevator that is able to traverse from the first floor of the Borg store to Cyrus Borg's office. Here's what the interior looks like. There's various Borg phones on display, and that's about it. Borg's office just has a simple desk, so not much going on there, but there are still some notable details. If we look at the first floor, we'll get a better look at some of the buildings on the first floor. They are able to pull out completely, and you can see this small bakery right here, which has like an oven and a few pastries on display, and this is able to just literally slide right back into the shop like that. Very simple. On the second floor, we have a small apartment. It looks to be Nia's apartment, though she is included in the set, but not in her urban outfit like in the gardens. Also, I think this is Kai's apartment. You can see a few details here and there. It's very subtle though. There's like a bed and a few like books on the bookshelf and like a clock and stuff, but there are still details, and there is this little balcony off to the side too, which looks really nice. And then on the first floor we have Kai's blacksmith shop, which I think looks really nice. It's an anvil and a few other blacksmith accessories. Also on the other side of the gardens we have Camille's shop, and we can see various hair products on the shelves. There's a small rug, and here's a better look at the Red Bridge too, and just the entire first layer of the Ninjago City markets. It's very detailed, like I said earlier, and every single area of this set has its own details, has its own Easter eggs to the show, and this is just a massive set. Again, it does span over 2 entire base plates. Here it is connected to the actual Ninjago City Garden, so you can see both of these sets are just massive in their own right. Like the Ninjago City Gardens is more tall, but the Ninjago City Markets is almost double the length. So because of that, it has more pieces, but I think it looks really great. The details in this set are just fantastic. I love it, easily one of my favorite sets, but let's go ahead and just get straight into the number 1 biggest LEGO set in my collection. All of y'all probably know what it is, but let's just go ahead and... Alright, and the number 1 biggest LEGO set in my collection, by no surprise at all, is the UCS Millennium Falcon. It has 7,541 pieces, and this set is just absolutely massive. There are so many brick-built details inside of this set. There's tons of greebling used off to the sides and on the top of the Millennium Falcon. This set took me about 18 hours to build, much longer than any of the other sets that I have ever built in my LEGO collection. Literally every single side of the Millennium Falcon has greebling, has tons of small pieces to kind of really bring up that piece count, and it is by far one of the most detailed sets in my LEGO collection. Even though it's mostly gray, you can look at this set and it's almost like it's a mosaic with all of the different elements that they use to kind of like add more depth to it and more detail to it as well. And it just looks great from every single angle. And it is one of my most impressive LEGO sets in my collection. It is absolutely massive. Like, I could not find a place to put this besides where I had it right here. And it also comes with a small little display plaque too, and this is one of the biggest LEGO sets in the world too. I think it's like, there's only like 2 sets bigger than it. Also, what's cool though is there is a interior to this set too. You're able to remove some panels, and you can see like there's like small hallways used with sticker pieces, and there's like various seating areas in this first interior space. There's a table and some control panels. It's not anything like super crazy, but like the interior details are there. Also, you can see this removable gunner seat right here, which is cool, though it doesn't look the best. And there's this other interior space too. It has a little hiding space and just various other small details. You can even see some hallways too. So while the interior isn't the best part of the set, it is there and worth showing off. But UCS Millennium Falcon is my number 1 biggest set with 7,541 pieces. I don't see any LEGO set possibly beating this out in my LEGO collection for biggest LEGO set, because I don't really think I'll get a set that's bigger than it anytime soon, but who knows? We'll see, I guess. But those are the 10 biggest LEGO sets in my LEGO collection. So definitely let me know what y'all thought of the video and what you guys thought of the collection and the 10 biggest sets in it. It's kind of stupid how the art sets qualify. I almost didn't want them to qualify, but like since I was going by piece count, I had to, but that's whatever. But anyway, that's all for today. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace out, y'all.